What's going on, YouTube? We're back here today with another fantasy basketball mock draft. Today we're doing a points league with the first pick. Before we get into the video, please do leave a like, comment, subscribe, especially if this video helped you out with your draft. Getting into it, we're going to take Jokic with the first overall pick. I think he is guaranteed, no nonsense, the overall first pick. You can make an argument in points league for Luka really going crazy this year, but I still think it will be Jokic at the end of the day. Giannis went second, Embiid, Luka, Curry, KD, Tatum, LaMelo, James Harden, Trae Young, Kat, LeBron, Ja Morant, Damian Lillard, D-Book, Sabonis, Halliburton, Paul George, AD, Jimmy Butler, Zion, Kyrie, and DeJounte Murray. So we have back-to-back picks here. Looking at Bradley Beal and Bam Adebayo here. So last year, Bam averaged about 41 fantasy points a game, and Siakam, another player I really like in points league, 42, actually categories leagues as well, 42 fantasy points. Donovan Mitchell last year, 40 fantasy points, but I feel like his numbers will take a little bit of a dip. Rudy Gobert is another player I like in points leagues, just because blocks are so valuable in points league, and steals and rebounds really add up, especially when you have someone like Rudy Gobert. He won't score a lot, and obviously he's playing next to Cat this year as well. Let's see what happens when you suggest another player. DeRozan is also another solid pickup, especially since Lonzo's missing a lot of time. DeRozan can really do a lot more playmaking this year. But I'm going to go with my back-to-back picks. I'm going to grab Siakam and Bam Adebayo. So there's Siakam. Yeah, Rudy Gobert last year, 37 fantasy points. Vucevic, 40 fantasy points. But like I said, I'm going to grab Bam here. Do expect a big year from him as well, especially since they have no starting power forward as of yet, really. They're going to rely heavily on Bam. After Bam was Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Bradley Beal, DeRozan, Donovan Mitchell, Brandon Ingram, Cade Cunningham, Rudy Gobert, Darius Garland, Kawhi Leonard, Vucevic, Evan Mobley, Van Fleet, DeAndre Ayton, De'Aaron Fox, Jaylen Brown, Jrue Holiday, Chris Paul, Zach LaVine, Porzingis, Julius Randle, and Jared Allen. Looking at our team, we are pretty stacked with big men. We already have our power forward through center kind of set up. So it does make sense to kind of go through the other positions here and there. Another player I really like this year, Terry Rozier, especially with Miles Bridges kind of being gone from the team, basically. Terry Rozier is a really solid pickup here. Last year, averaged 39 fantasy points. And I do expect him to score more this year and possibly playmake as well, depending on how much LaMelo demands the ball. His three-pointers could also potentially go up as well, just because more opportunity. And since field goal percentage doesn't hinder that much in fantasy points leagues, Terry Rozier is a really, really solid pickup. Another player I do like is Chris Middleton, as well as CJ McCollum. Actually, Scotty Barnes as well. CJ taking over that starting point guard role for New Orleans, really increasing his playmaking ability. Last year, averaged only 5 assists. And when he was in New Orleans, this number was closer to 7 usually each game. The scoring might take a little bit of a dip just because Zion is coming back. However, the assist numbers could go up greatly with Zion back. And CJ McCollum is a solid pickup. Scotty Barnes, starting power forward, I'm assuming for the Raptors, 17.5 points, 7.6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 37.3 fantasy points. He could take a sophomore jump this year, basically, where his points would increase, his rebounds, and playmaking if they give him that opportunity. And he does have solid defensive numbers and hits a 3 here and there as well. Chris Middleton as well, very well-rounded player, gets steals, blocks, hits the 3, and gets you points. So Chris Middleton's a very solid pickup, but I'm definitely going to grab Terry Rozier first here. And Christian Wood's another one. However, there was talk of him being the power forward off the bench in Dallas and sticking with Dorian Finney at the 4. So I'm a little bit hesitant to draft Wood here. However, someone like CJ, I'm fine taking. Chris Middleton, I'm fine taking. Let me see who else. Jalen Brunson, I'm also fine taking. I'm going to grab CJ for now. I'm going to grab Chris Middleton for now. There goes Miles Turner, CJ McCollum, Christian Wood, Robert Williams, Scotty Barnes, Jamal Murray, Sengun, Jalen Brunson, Jonas Valanciunas, Desmond Bane, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, John Collins, Nurkic, Paolo Banchero, Clint Capella, D'Lo, Jaren Jackson Jr., Pokusevski, Wendell Carter, and Josh Giddey, who would be amazing in points leagues just because of his versatility in the point guard position, getting a lot of rebounds, assists, and everything like that. So let's look at our suggestions now. Ben Simmons, a really solid pickup here. 14 points is his projection for the year. 7.8 rebounds, 7 assists. The steals and the blocks and the just overall versatility is what you draft Ben Simmons for. Projected 38.7 fantasy points. I actually thought these were last year's stats, but now I'm seeing projections up here. So I do like Ben Simmons a lot. Let's take a look at our roster. So we do have a point guard. We're still looking for that shooting guard, and a couple of utility players along with our bench. I'm 100% going to grab Ben Simmons here. I do feel like on the Nets, he is a solid play, especially if the Nets play him at center, which they really should do. I think Ben Simmons is in line for a great year, especially playing next to KD and Kyrie. Now, the players I do want to grab, again, we spoke about Keldon Johnson just because of the scoring ability of him this year, especially with no one else being on San Antonio. But I'm going to dip down here and grab Russell Westbrook. Last year averaged 19, 7, and 7, 1 steal, didn't shoot well, a 3 a game, did turn the ball over a lot. However, in a points league, the shooting doesn't really matter as much, and Westbrook's counting stats just are dominant. So we're going to grab Westbrook. There goes OG, Brandon Clark, RJ Barrett, Horford, Mitchell Robinson, Marvin Bagley, Ivica Zubac, Keldon Johnson, Bobby Portis, Mo Bamba, Bojan Bogdanovic, James Wiseman, PJ Washington, Tobias Harris, Jalen Smith, Steven Adams, Montrezl Harrell, Isaiah Stewart, Andre Drummond, Rashawn Holmes, Nick Claxton, Isaiah Jackson. Looking at our team, we still do need a shooting guard and a couple of other utility players. Players sticking out to me right now, let's look at our suggestions. Kyle Kuzma, 32 fantasy points projected. Tyler Harrows, a shooting guard that fits really well, 33 fantasy points projected. And Jalen Green is a player that I also expect to see a big boost, especially in the scoring department. Maybe not so much in the other stats like rebounds and assists, blocks, steals, but scoring wise and three-pointers wise, Jalen Green should have a hell of a year. Tyrese Maxey is also another player. Scoring wise, I do see a bump for him, as well as rebounds and assists. And he played amazing next to Harden and Embiid last year. Sadiq Bey, really good 3-and-D guy in Detroit. They do have a lot of offensive weapons now, so I'm a little bit more hesitant to grab him. If we add another player, we get Jordan Poole here. It looks like Jalen Green, Tyrese Maxey, Tyler Herro are probably the 3 guys I would want to grab here. Let's take a look at our team. We don't have anyone on Houston. We do have Bam, so I'm a little bit more hesitant on grabbing Herro. And we don't have anyone on Philly, so I don't mind grabbing Maxey. So if that's the case, let's actually go Jalen Green. I'm projecting a big year for him. And with our next pick, we could also grab Maxey as well. But I'm actually kind of leaning toward Kuzma. He played really well last year next to Porzingis while Beal was out. Even before Porzingis even got to the team, he did well rebounding. Actually did amazing playmaking as well while Bradley Beal was gone. And I do see something like that continuing for Kuzma. For that reason, I'm going to grab Kuzma now. And it does fill up a couple of our forward slots. I don't want to have just Chris Middleton, Pascal Siakam, and Bam be our only forwards. So let's grab Kuzma here. There goes Brook Lopez, JaVale McGee, Andrew Wiggins, Chris Boucher, Michael Porter, Thomas Bryant, Sadiq Bey, Onyeka Okongwu, PJ Tucker, Mikal Bridges, Kevin Love, Colin Sexton, Isaiah Hartenstein, Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee, Kelly Olynyk, Marcus Morris, Buddy Hield, Gary Trent, Malcolm Brogdon, Gordon Hayward, and Thaddeus Young. Tyrese Maxey somehow still made it here. Tyler Herro somehow still made it here. Kyle Lowry's another option here. So is Marcus Smart. Looking at the projection, Kevin Porter is actually projected 36 fantasy points, but we just grabbed Jalen Green, so I don't want to grab the entire backcourt. Kyle Lowry is projected 34. We did speak about him just because of his assists, steals, and threes. Kyle Lowry is very, very valuable. But we also, like I said, just with Tyler Herro, we also do have Bam Adebayo, so I don't want to go too heavy on that. I do, however, want to grab Tyrese Maxey here. I just feel like it's way too hard to pass him up this late in the draft. So let's go ahead and grab him. Let's actually raise this to 10 players. So now we can see Jabari Smith. We see Keegan Murray, Dylan Brooks, another option, Marcus Smart, and Franz Wagner. I'm actually going to dip all the way down. Nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to end up grabbing Kyle Lowry here. I know we already have the Heat player in Bam Adebayo, but Kyle Lowry had a down year last year. I expect his numbers to go up. I expect him to still hit the 3-ball with consistency, get steals, and get a lot of assists, especially on that Miami Heat team. There's so many weapons. I'm going to go ahead and take him. And a player I do want to grab is someone like Franz Wagner. I'm not sure if he'll make it to us. I highly doubt it. We'd be really lucky if he did. But I expect Franz Wagner to have a hell of a year as well. I just don't think fantasy points-wise he can keep up with Kyle Lowry. Yeah, I don't think he can keep up with Kyle Lowry just because the assists are so much more valuable. So we're going to grab Lowry here. All right, off the board next was Jordan Poole, Tyler Herro, Lonzo Ball, who's going to miss a lot of time, Anthony Simmons, Marcus Smart, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith, Devin Vassell. There goes Franz Wagner, Herb Jones, John Wall, Karis LeVert, Kevin Porter Jr., Josh Hart, Spencer Dinwiddie, Trey Jones, Mike Conley, Keegan Murray, Miles Bridges, Kemba Walker, who's not even on a team as of right now, and Miles Bridges is probably not going to play this year, Monte Morris, Norman Powell. So we have some options. Let's look at our suggestions. Jalen Suggs, about 30 fantasy points a game. Lauri Markkanen's a great pick here just because of Utah, him most likely being the starting small forward, power forward next to Jared Vanderbilt, especially with Bojan now in Detroit. And they're most likely also going to move Clarkson and or Conley, which is really going to open up a lot of shots for players like Colin Sexton, like Lauri Markkanen, like Walker Kessler and Vanderbilt. So I really am high on the Utah role players. Rebuilding teams usually lead to great fantasy teams. So I'm going to lock in Lauri Markkanen. I'm seeing a couple other players here, but no one really jumping out. So Lauri Markkanen for sure going to grab. And now let's take a look at our team. We have a good amount of point guards and shooting guards. So I don't feel tempted to grab a guard right now. I could go ahead and grab another small forward, power forward. Let's see, we have one small forward, one power forward center, and one power. Okay, yeah. So wings is kind of our weakness right now, I would say. I don't really like Harrison Barnes. I think Keegan Murray is going to overshadow him. Aaron Gordon, with everyone else coming back in Denver, his role will be a little bit diminished. What other guards can we go ahead and grab? Dort, this is not a bad one. It's really tough because I feel like it's hard to pass up on a player like Cole Anthony here or Jalen Suggs here. But I'm going to take a shot with Cole Anthony, I think he's the pick. Nah, I can't. We need another forward. So for that reason, I think Cam Johnson over here that I'm seeing might be a nice selection. He is going to be most likely starting power forward unless they get a power forward back from the Jay Crowder trade. Harrison Barnes I spoke about. Will Barton is not a bad one here. He will most likely be a sixth man in Washington, I feel like. Just because they already have Monte Morris. They already have Bradley Beal, Kuzma. and Porzingis. So you're really either playing Kuzma at the 3 or the 4. If you play him at the 3, obviously you can't play Will Barton, so it comes down to, do you want to play Deni Avdija as well? Do you want to play Rui Hachimura? So I'm not too sure about Will Barton yet, but Deni Avdija is a solid player, gets a good amount of stats elsewhere. If I were to pick between the two, obviously I'm going to take who's starting, but I have a feeling Deni Avdija will be starting over him. Kelly Oubre here plays power forward shooting guard. I've never seen that combination before. But Darius Bazley is a good option here. Will be the starting power forward now with Chet Holmgren gone for the year. Put up a lot of points, I feel like, in OKC, especially with Shea, Dort, and Giddey being the 1, 2, and 3. Between Bazley and Pokusevski, I feel like Bazley is the more polished player and should probably most likely get more minutes and does fill our need for that forward position. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to grab Bazley. There are better options points-wise like Suggs and Cole Anthony, but I feel like we are so guard heavy. We need a little bit more forward depth on our team. So we're going to grab Bazley here. There goes Caruso, Kelly Oubre, Jalen Suggs, Aaron Gordon, Harrison Barnes, Cole Anthony, Jayshawn Tate, Jaden Ivey, and Jordan Clarkson, DeAnthony Melton, and Jonathan Isaac. Got a B on this draft. Our team was Terry Rozier, Jalen Green, Ben Simmons, Chris Middleton, Pascal Siakam, Bam Adebayo, Nikola Jokic, Westbrook, Kyle Kuzma, Tyrese Maxey, Kyle Lowry, Lauri Markkanen, and Darius Bazley. Overall, I actually think we did pretty good on the draft. A lot of players that I did want got kind of sniped throughout. For example, Josh Giddey, I really wanted, went right before us. Another player, I believe, was Franz Wagner was one player I really liked this year. I do think he's gonna have a big year. Would have loved to grab someone like DeJounte Murray, who had a hell of a year last year. But I'm actually really glad we got someone like Pascal. I think he's very underrated. He had a pretty down year. I think it was like 2 years ago, and he's been under the radar ever since. Really solid fantasy player, and Toronto really plays their starters a whole lot. Ben Simmons and Westbrook, I think, are a little undervalued just because of their versatility with rebounds, assists. Ben Simmons might not get you as many points. Obviously, Westbrook has taken a step back in the scoring department. However, just the versatility, the steals, the defense, it's all there for Ben Simmons and Westbrook, and it really leads to a lot of fantasy points throughout the year. Overall, I think it was pretty solid. There were some players that I wish I could have gotten, but that's how the draft works. And that's all for this video. Please do leave a like, comment, subscribe, especially if this video helped you out with your fantasy draft. And I'll see you next time.